Well, at last, I am here to talk about Disney at last.
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you.
Hey, what is up, my keepers? Today, I am here to discuss the third and final book in the Return series, the 10th Kingdom Keepers book, and the final book with the Keepers as the main characters, Disney at last. Oh my goodness. I read this book in under a week, as I usually do with Kingdom Keepers books, but sometimes the longer ones, like this one, still take me a full week, but not Disney at last. It was a Friday, a couple of weeks ago. I had no classes, they were all canceled, and I had more than half of this book left. I had 250 pages left to be exact, and I was sitting in bed in my dorm room being all bored, and I said, why don't I read Disney at last today? I'll just read a little bit and then I'll finish it up this weekend probably. Do you know what happened that day? I finished the damn book. 250 pages in about 2 sittings. Like 2.5 sittings. Like I can't even. So first, to go for a spoiler-free section, The Return Disney at Last picks up where Legacy of Secrets left off. There's not much I can say without spoilers. It's pretty much the same story that the Return series has been going through for the entire series. The Kingdom Keepers are in 1955, trying to figure out how to stop the Overtakers and how to get back home to 2016, 2017, whatever the hell year it's supposed to be. I think 2015 at this point, probably. The book mostly centers around Mattie in present day trying to save Disneyland while the Keepers are trying to stop the Overtakers back in 1955. So most of this book is Mattie. As it goes on a little bit further into it, we start to see more of the Keepers, but I would definitely call Disney at Last Mattie's story. This is a roller coaster of a book. Like, arm yourself. Good luck, because I swear the amount of times that I cried or I wanted to call up Ridley Pearson and be like, dude, what a word Maybeck shouldn't have said. Read it, get to your local bookstore, pick it up, and devour it. Enjoy it, but prepare yourself. Get tissues, get chocolate, get pillows or stuffed animals or something to squeeze, and make sure you're not in public when you're towards the end. That's all I have to say for non-spoilers. So go read the book, and then come back and join us when I'm going to discuss the book moment for moment. See you! Okay, so now it's time for spoilers. Oh my god. 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 I'm sorry. That's all I can say. I'm gonna be honest that when I first started the book, for about the first half of the book, I didn't really like it that much. I felt disconnected from it. I felt like it wasn't really a Kingdom Keepers book. Especially at the beginning, we were barely seeing any of the Keepers. But then we started to see the Keepers more, and the book really picked up. While it was not my favorite out of all the Kingdom Keepers books, I would say that it was my favorite book out of the Return trilogy, but I just think in general I did not enjoy the Return trilogy as much as I enjoyed the Kingdom Keepers series. My main issue with this book is probably the organization of the writing, because I think at the end it was very unclear what exactly happened. But I think that may have just been that I was reading so fast to make sure that Finn was alive that I really wasn't paying attention to anything. If there was a section with Mattie reading a page in 25 to 30 seconds, skimming through, reading and reading and reading until I got to the next chapter with Finn and Amanda, and then of course it took about 10 chapters with them to figure out if Finn was alive. So until I read the words Finn was alive, I just sped through it and I did not pay attention to what was going on really, but I don't know if Ridley gave a clear explanation of what they did or what happened or if the Overtakers were defeated or if not. My notes end there. After that happened, I didn't continue taking notes because I put the book down for about 20 minutes. I wanted to throw up. I honest to God felt sick to my stomach and I wouldn't read the book. And then I just like, you know, like I said, I was just flashing through it as fast as I could just to get it done, just for the sole purpose of seeing if Finn was alive. That's where the notes end. But until then, we're gonna go through the notes and we're gonna talk about them. Okay, so the first note I made is, why are they still out of character? That note didn't really, like, stand, because, like, I think that while everybody was really out of character in Legacy of Secrets, I think Ridley mostly fixed that at this point, except there was a moment at the beginning where I felt Willa was a little bit off. Like, Willa was very much herself, but I feel like he wasn't acknowledging the development that Willa had in Book 7. He just described Willa as quiet, the quiet one in the group, which she is, but I feel like she has moved past a little bit, so it upset me a little bit to see him describe her like that, but I digress. The book starts, they're all in a meeting, they're talking with Amanda and Jess. They said Amanda and Jess have been there for about a week with them, which poses the question of how long have they been there, because I think they were there for like 2 weeks before Amanda and Jess got there. Amanda and Jess have come to tell Finn that they have figured out how he can stop the Overtakers from ever happening, and that they want him to do this because if the Overtakers never happened, nothing ever happened in Disney. Dillard never died. Wayne never died. All these horrible things never happened. But Finn is trying to point out to Amanda that he's not so sure they should do this because, like I said in my review video for Legacy of Secrets, if they do this, there's a possibility that they are never going to have met in the future when they get back there, because they met because of the Kingdom Keepers. So if the Kingdom Keepers never happen, they never meet. Maybe they meet and become holographic tour guide hosts, but Finn and Amanda certainly do not meet, and they certainly do not all become best friends. Finn is trying to point out the paradox, Finn, for once, being the intelligent one in the group, and Amanda's like, but we can stop them, and Finn's like, oh my god, and I'm also like, oh my god. So then, you know, we have them doing investigating because they're being approached by these fake cast members who they think are working for Hollingsworth. So Amanda and Charlene go after the fake cast members, and this was a scene that I loved so much. They were holding hands, they were working together, they were acting like best friends. I think at one point Charlene even says to Amanda, you were made for Finn. They hug at one point, and I'm just crying because I'm thinking back to like book 2 and book 3 when they were clawing at each other's throats. They hated each other, they could not stand each other, and now they're best friends and they're hugging, and it's just so beautiful to see how far they have come. So Mattie is doing her investigating with Ezekiel. We see she's forming this bond with Ezekiel where she's thinking of him like a father figure. That made me cry a little bit. We get some backstory for Mattie, that she was only at Barracks 14 for 5 years, that before that she lived with her grandmother for about 5 years until her grandmother died, and before that she lived with her parents, but she doesn't remember her parents that much. We learn that Fairlies lose their powers as they go into their 20s and grow up, and we learn that not all of them do, though, and that Mattie suspects that Hollingsworth is a Fairlie, and one of the first ones. So then we get back to 1955, we're working with Charlene and Amanda again. Charlene calls Amanda Mandy, which ties into them being friends now, and they're going after these fake cast members. Then we're back with Mattie and Ezekiel, and they are planning a meeting of all the Disney characters to form an army, and I was like, this is the first time that I started like really enjoying the book. I started like flipping out so much. I was in the campus library, I remember, trying not to scream, because Joe takes Mattie to meet Bert from Mary Poppins, and if you don't know, I love Mary Poppins very, very much. Joe is like, Bert, we need to meet with Mary, and we need you to get together all the Disney characters, and Bert says, I can get you to meet my Mary, and I'm like, oh, Bert is calling her my Mary. I swear to God, like, half of my feels in this book, like 75% of them came from feels about the original Disney characters themselves, which is an element that I really, really actually liked about this book a lot, was the heavy involvement of the actual characters. We got a lot of character usage in the first series. It was kind of sporadic. Not a lot of it in the return. In the 7th book, there was a whole lot of Disney characters helping them. But in this book, we really saw the Disney characters taking the helm, being the main characters, leading the fight, and it was so cool. We have all the Disney characters. We hear which ones are sitting together, who's friends. I'm just gonna go into the book and read that.
Mulan strode in from offstage and took a seat out front, as did Pocahontas. He saw Sully and Tiana sitting with Elsa. Ariel moved gracefully in from backstage too, followed by Mickey and Rapunzel, each part of a Mickey and the Magical Map show. A dozen rats from Ratatouille chatted with Ewoks. Chip and Dale and Flick sat with Stitch.
And they're all, like, cheering for the Kingdom Keepers, booing the Overtakers, and it's just, like, how I always imagined the Disney characters, like, reacting to the Kingdom Keepers, but we get to see them as, like, real, sentient beings, interacting with each other, interacting across movies and knowing each other, and it's just, it gets cooler as the book goes on, but we're not there yet. Oh yeah, I made a note, they're going into the graveyard, and like Willa tripped and Philby catches her, and Charlene and Maybeck are holding hands, and Finn and Amanda are just being, you know, the disgusting, mushy, over-exaggerated couple that they are in this series. I love them, I'm so kidding. We go into the graveyard where Jess had a dream that Hollingsworth was collecting bones and corpses, and the keepers go to investigate to dig up these corpses, and they find that corpses have stolen limbs, cause that's fun. They start freaking out, as they should. Jess starts having visions, freaking out. Wayne is making sure she's okay, which I found adorable to see teenage Wayne reacting to Jess the same way old Wayne would, and protecting Jess, because Wayne becomes somewhat of a father figure to Jess in, like, the present, so that was cute to me. They get attacked by zombies, and everyone's fighting. Willa and Charlene are trying to fight the zombies by hurling insults at them, and that's just, like, the cutest thing. This whole scene, this whole fight scene was, like, adorable, because I feel like the Return, one of my favorite things in the Return series was the fight scenes, because they were just hysterical with the quirkiness of the Keepers. I think mainly because they've really become such solid best friends now, that when they do fight together, we get to see all these quirky parts of their personality, and it's just the greatest thing. And then, of course, you have frickin' Finn getting upset that Philby is trying to take the helm, and I'm like, this is not book 5. I started to get worried again about backwards character development, because I'm like, Finn Whitman, now is not the time for your frickin' God complex. My other favorite thing here was that, like, Philby was telling them how they could fight the zombies using information that he got from his favorite book series. I just love Del Philby so much, and then you have Finn who's just like, what the hell, this isn't real, and I'm just like, tag yourself, because I'm both Finn and Philby at the same time. There was a line in there that they were talking about, the bodies and the corpses, and Finn says to Maybeck, you're disgusting, and Maybeck's reply is, I try. Maybeck, I love you, the sarcasm, because I am every single one of these characters, except again reestablishes, I love how strong of a best friends group they are. After like 10 books now, we know these characters so well. It's as if they're our friends. That's how I feel about the Keepers, because I grew up alongside them. So to just hear them talking sarcasm like that, shooting off like sarcasm back and forth like that, acting in a way that only best friends act, and they've come so far from barely knowing each other in book 1, and I just like, oh man, they're just such a family, and it just gets me. So then we have Mattie's first crossover, which was adorable. Mattie was so excited to be crossing over and fighting like a Kingdom Keeper, just like Amanda and Jess, which is similar to what we've seen in characters like Dillard before. Group split up, and we have Finn and Jess with Willa and Philby, and then Amanda with Charlene and Maybeck, which I found really funny, because I'm like, hey, Finn and Amanda and Jess are all like third wheeling in their groups, which was funny. The zombie fight's going on, all the funny things happening. I noted in my notes here that chapter 17 gave me life, so I'm gonna have to go back and reread chapter 17, but I'm pretty sure that's all the jokes about you're disgusting, I try, Philby fighting the zombies with what he knows in books. A quote from Finn, at this wedding he'd be the flower girl, sprinkling nuts and bolts. There's a quote about Maybeck seeing things with an artist's eye, and I was like, my son, because I love when they reference like special little things, like the fact that Maybeck is an artist. And then there was this little moment of Jess, a monologue from Jess, where we find out Jess thinks she's not brave and, like, not as brave as the other keepers. And I just want to hug her. And you see this a lot from characters like Jess, Willa, Mattie. They think they're not brave. They're not brave enough like the rest of the group. They're not good enough. And it's like, yes, you are. But it makes them so much more lovable because it makes them more relatable. And God, I love these characters. So then Mattie is going to, like, willingly be captured by the Fairleys, the evil Fairleys, the group of Fairleys that have been made to work for the Overtakers by Hollingsworth, which is, like, crazy. We see the Fairleys from Barracks 14 weaponized and made into an army, and it just makes it all the more horrifying for them. But they were, like, going along with it, too, because they didn't understand. So that was a really cool plot line for me, especially when we had, like, Mattie trying to get them to realize what was wrong. Mattie gets attacked by hangers. Like, okay, so we've been through Small World Dolls, Maleficent, the Yeti on, you know, Expedition Everest. We've been through all the rides, so now she gets to get attacked by hangers and Stormtrooper toys. And I didn't know at first that Mattie was supposed to, like, let herself be captured, so I was freaking out. So now this leads us to a whole nother plot point in the book where Mattie is undercover for Joe and the characters being captured by the Fairleys and living captured with them in the Tower of Terror. Oh my god, Maybeth called Philby filibuster, and it was my favorite thing in the history of everything. Like, I cannot. Okay, so then I had about 10 aneurysms because all the characters started coming out to help Mattie. And Nick was there as well, and you saw Nick freaking out about the characters, and I'm like, me too, Nick, me too. So we had Anna come out first, and I got really, really excited about Anna. So we have Nani, Flynn, Aladdin, and then Mickey comes out, the return of Mickey from Kingdom Keeper 7, and I loved Mickey so much in Kingdom Keeper 7. Like, it makes me, like, irrational levels of excited when Mickey comes out, and Mickey calls forth all the Disney characters. He's like, all right, you guys can come out, and I'm just flipping out because, oh my god, this is like the Disney character army, and I'm pretty sure this is about where I started reading the Friday when I finished the book. There's also a line in there that says, if they want you to see them, you'll see them, which is such a creative thing to me. This is how the Disney characters are seen. If they want you to see them, you'll see the real characters, which is like, ah! So we have Cinderella, Rapunzel, Jasmine, and Kristoff and Mulan. Kristoff and Mulan, who become very, very prominent characters in this section of the novel, but I'm going to get to that because Kristoff and Mulan were absolutely my favorite. So then we have the return of the Dillard, also there to help to rescue Mattie. Nick and Joe and the Dillard are going to help rescue Mattie. Dillard says Finn was my best friend, and I started crying because I'm like, no, Dillard, stop! Mattie hugs Mickey. She curtsies to Cinderella. I am a mess because there's Disney characters. My favorite moment in the entire book. Kristoff and Mulan are working with Nick, and they're fighting, and Nick's like, do you guys have issues? And Kristoff says that he doesn't like Mulan because he doesn't think Mulan likes Anna, and she always takes Elsa's side. I'm dying. Like, so Nick's asking why the characters are so optimistic, and they say they're used to a life where the happy ending always happens. That's what their movies are. That's what their life is. Like, This book had such a big focus on whether or not we should believe in happy endings, which is like, oh my god. So then, Finn and Amanda go off alone to go investigate. Finn makes sure the two of them go up alone together, and that was just the biggest feels fest I've ever read in my entire life. Holy crap. Ridley again with the Famanda obsession, but this time I don't even care. There's so much going on. They're flirting, they're talking about how they missed each other. Finn, it says, he answered a question with another question, something that he knew annoyed Amanda, and then they get into the discussion about whether or not they should try to defeat Hollingsworth. Amanda says, we're still gonna meet if the Overtakers don't happen because it's fate and it's gonna happen. Finn's like, don't be so sure about that. And Finn says to her, like, have you ever seen a happy ending in real life? Like, yelling at her, like, it's not gonna happen and I don't want to lose you. And she says, I see one every day. I'm looking at one. There are are so many elements to this that make this line as emotional as it is. I mean, first of all, we have the fact that, hello, Finn is Amanda's happy ending. I'm looking at one. I'm looking at a fairy tale, and are you kidding me? But not only that, let's not forget that back in book 2, Amanda was the character who didn't trust happy endings. She didn't trust love. She didn't have trust. Trust is just a rust with T used to disguise it. Amanda did not believe in anything happy ending, and now she is the one saying fairy tale endings exist, and she knows it because of Finn. Are you kidding me? Come on! Finn's like, he feels whole with her. Finn says to her after she says this is a fairy tale ending, he says, but this isn't an ending, this is a beginning. Finn and Amanda are in the tornado thing after they get attacked by the giant Pinocchios. They think they're gonna die together right there in this tornado. I was reading this in public and I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna die. Their clothes are flying off. Amanda's using every ounce of strength she has to try and save Finn's life. She's trying to push him out and stay herself. They get pressed against the wall. They're gonna die, but eventually they jump out of the tornado together. They're okay. They land in water and start laughing. They're half naked. I want to know what the keeper's reaction was when Finn and Amanda came back. So then we have the Wilby scene. Willa and Philby are alone on a mission together now. They're hiding behind all these mannequins, trying to get away from the security guards, the police. Philby's got his arms around her. Willa and Philby at this point, just in a typical relationship. No need to have any huge moment like Finn and Amanda, but just like cuddling, holding hands like Willa and Philby will do. And then Philby kisses her on the cheek and I'm like, oh my god, they're so cute. Then we're back in 2016. Mattie is trying to defeat the Fairleys. And Mattie flirts with this guy to get him to be on her side in defeating Hollingsworth. And I'm like, oh my god, go Mattie. Mattie, I love you so much. There's a line from Mickey. There's nothing obvious about Minnie. She always surprises me. And I screeched. I saw at first in Kingdom Keepers 7 that apparently nothing makes me more emotional in these books than things between Minnie and Mickey. But you know, whatever. So I'm screeching because we've got all the Disney characters and Finn and Amanda are each other's fairy tale ending and Philby's kissing Willa on the cheek and they're so obviously in a serious relationship. Then we have the greatest scene in Kingdom Keepers history. Charlene and Maybeck are out surveilling the building and these cops come by and it's like, good god, okay, here we go. They come up to Maybeck, they think he's loitering. It's 1955, so they're being racist, obviously, and Maybeck's not taking it well, obviously, and he's like, you know, kind of yelling, pretty much about 5 seconds away from getting himself arrested, and Charlene comes up. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Go off on them, Charlene. But you know that she can't because, like, it's 1955. She has to act compliant. She has to act like it's totally normal for them to be speaking to Maybeck like this. And she knows that. So Charlene, being the ultimate hero that she is, starts calming down these cops, talking to them, saying, is there a problem? But Charlene doesn't let it go all the way like that. My feminist icon, my everything, Miss Charlene Turner, is not going to let it stand completely. No. The cops question whether or not she's doing a school project with Maybeck, which is the excuse that she used. And she says, they say, are you with him? And she's like, I don't appreciate your tone, officer. Does it look like I'm with him? But as for the school project, very much yes. I believe it's called integration. I literally wrote in my notes, go off, because it was oh my god, I believe it's called integration. God bless Charlene Turner. Then we have this whole scene where Willa almost freaking dies, gets locked in a coffin, is like, for like 10 chapters, we just keep hearing about Willa, how she's dying and how she's sure she's gonna die in that moment, but she's got chloroform in her mouth, so she can't even think about what's happening. She doesn't even know who she is or who her friends are. Nobody knows she's there. Finally, Jess decides to go in. Philby doesn't know where she is or that this is happening. I don't remember exactly what happened. Philby does something that allows Jess to get to Willa. Jess eventually saves Willa. They hug because they're best friends. Again, Keeper's best friends, my heart. And Jess is like, Philby saved you. And Willa cries and just says, Dell. And I'm like, Finally, the final battle starts culminating. Mattie convinces the girls and boys and fairlies of Barracks 14 to join forces with her and to stop Hollingsworth, but Teodalma has come back with Maleficent resurrected. Sleeping Beauty Castle is burning. People are dying. It's a mess. There's like an attack on Disneyland again. The Overtakers are being created right before their very eyes using the limbs of dead people and projecting images of Disney villains onto those dead people's limbs. What the hell? Mr. Finn Whitman decides that, okay, so not only is it bad enough, like, no, Finn, you can't defeat the Overtakers, and at this point, him and Amanda have flip-flopped. He still wants to do what Amanda wanted originally, to defeat the Overtakers, and at this point, Amanda's, like, seeing all of it before her. Amanda's like, there's no way we can end this, let's go. But Finn's not going, and Amanda's like, let's go, and Finn's like, no. And then genius Finn Whitman decides that, oh, the only way to defeat Hollingsworth is if I die too. Splat! And I'm like, what the hell? And that's where I stopped taking notes, because I did not want this to be real. I keep reading, he's still dead. I keep reading, he's still dead. I keep reading, Amanda's sobbing her eyes out, curled up in a ball on the floor. I keep reading, and then Mattie and Joe are forgetting who Finn is in the future. They're thinking there's 4 Kingdom Keepers. It's getting intense. I'm not really going to talk about much of anything, because after this point, I don't even know what happened. They somehow defeated Teodalma, and I think they defeated Hollingsworth. I'm not sure. Both Hollingsworth committed suicide, and then Finn's dead, and they're like, let's go back to the future, and if we bring him back to the future, because he never really existed in 1955, he can't die in 1955. I really don't know what the logic is, but they come back. Amanda jumps on the carousel with Finn, they spin around really fast, and then Finn's alive, okay. Then, I really don't know. Did they stop the Overtakers from ever existing, or did they just defeat Hollingsworth then, and the Overtakers still figured out a way to come to be? I feel like we're supposed to assume that that's what happened, that even though they stopped the Overtakers there, that, the Overtakers found a way to come to be anyway. Because if that hadn't happened, this battle wouldn't have been happening in the Magic Kingdom when they got back. Somehow, they say they can be, that they, now that they have Dillard and Wayne's DHIs, they can return them, and then, like, Dillard and Wayne are alive now, apparently. I really don't know how to feel about that, because, like, while it's like, yay, they're alive, I'm always for people not being dead, but it's from a writing standpoint, it's kind of, like, ridiculous, and I don't understand what happened, so I really don't know how to feel about that, and I don't like when authors cancel out something that happened in an original series, but at the same time, I can't be mad because Dillard and Wayne are alive now. And the last scene happens, the last scene that I have wanted this to be the last scene since I read book 2, with them just running around the park together, having a jolly old time, and this time the series ends the way it began, with Finn in the middle of the Magic Kingdom talking to Wayne on a bench, and Wayne even acknowledges this. He's like, remember, like 10 years ago, it was you and me here, not 10 years ago, like 6 years ago, it was just sitting on the bench here and you didn't believe me, and everybody else is just off on the rides, going having a grand old time, in love, moving on to gonna be married in 20 years, living in Epcot, and the ending just, like, redeemed any problem that the whole book had. Oh my god, I didn't mention, Amanda and Jess are living with Charlene and her mom. Amanda and Charlene, who couldn't be in the same room with each other, are living together like best friends. I can't stand it anymore. Okay, that's gonna be it for today. I'm sorry this video was completely incoherent. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of Disney at last, and if you understood what happened at the end, please explain it to me in the comments below, or let me know what your interpretation of that ending was, because I'm just trying to figure out what happened. Okay, guys, as always, you can follow me on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. All links are in the description. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye! Have a magical day!